So when I talk to people and I try to get them to understand that it's not your belief systems that you need to be starting with. All this idea that you can think your way out of something, you can visualize your way out of something, and you can use all these different techniques and everything like that. If you're not getting the hell out of the situation that you're in, your belief systems are going to be meaningless. The belief systems that you think you're creating. I'm a nice person. I'm a good person. I only attract this type of thing. Not if you're still in this environment. If you have particular life circumstances in life, you have to look at changing those life circumstances. And trust me, that's not easy. That's not comfortable, that's not pleasant, and that's not the first place that people want to go. When I talk to people and they tell me what a problem is, I generally immediately see what I think the solution is, and they immediately get defensive. Perhaps you shouldn't be in that job. I got bills to pay, I gotta know, we gotta find a different solution. No, maybe that job is not for you. Maybe you shouldn't be doing the Louise Hay method where I appreciate and have gratitude for my job and knowing that another one is going to come along. No. You can play that game for a long time if you got mortgages and bills and everything. No, your circumstance needs to be challenged first. Because you have the force of these two backing up your life circumstances. Your life circumstances reinforce your belief systems and reinforce your relationships. So if you don't actively look to change those life circumstances, you're not going to get very far. When you change your life circumstances, when you actively start to change things, the people around you are going to change. You're going to have different people come into your life because these people hold into place what you commonly do together. When you have a particular way of doing things in life, your friends are there with you. They probably do it too. If you drink too much, they probably drink too much. And if you want to stop, they're not going to be out. What do you mean you want to stop? What do you mean you're not drinking with us anymore? Come on now. What's gotten into you? We do this every week. So you can try to think your way out of it, or you can actively recognize that you're going to go through some discomfort. Because what I'm trying to get you to understand is that if you have things that you need to change in your life, that you want to improve, I'm trying to get you to understand that you should try to go back to your life energy. But this stuff is in the way. If you're a creative person and you're a solicitor, you're probably in the wrong job. You may be getting paid some money. You may be doing well financially, but you're not happy because you always wanted to paint or dance or write poems. But of course you were told, you can't live off of that. But you're not happy with your circumstances. And your life energy is the thing that's telling you you're not happy with your circumstances. Because in the wee hours of the morning when everything is quiet, and you're not distracted by your phone or your computer or your friends or other people, those thoughts creep back in. That painting you would have loved to have painted. If you're a dynamic assertive, that thing you would have loved to have explained to people. The dreams that you had at one point before your life energy got really smothered starts to come through when that quiet mind starts to settle in. What do? You go and get yourself distracted. Distracted with the people in your life, distracted with the things that you believe and the things that you're doing. So I'm trying to help people understand that getting back to your life energy may require for you to change belief systems, to change relationships. And that can be a very challenging thing for people to do. And there's one thing that I want to say about relationships that I haven't had a chance to say in any of my previous talks. And I call it the downside of love. I want you to imagine a deer. And this deer is grazing, eating, and at peace with itself and at peace with its surroundings. Suddenly, there's a sense of danger. There's an instinctive knowing something's wrong here. And out of nowhere springs a cheetah. Cheetahs are pretty fast and pretty vicious. So the cheetah is chasing the deer. And the deer immediately, biochemically, and anatomically springs into flight or fight. Instinctively, it knows, I can't fight this thing. I'll lose, so I better run. But all of the tension, all of the biochemistry is ready to fight if necessary. But if there's an escape, I'm getting out of here. Because the same biochemistry to get away, to flee, is also there. So the deer runs, and it's running and running and running. Cheetah's pretty fast, catching up, getting closer, heart's pounding. And I was always amazed as a kid when I was watching these documentaries and I would see zebras in the jungles and the safaris and they're getting chased by these vicious tigers and everything. And at a certain point there'd be this really fast-paced chase going on and suddenly the animal would leap in slow motion and as soon as the paws would touch the animal would just fall down. And as a kid I used to think, oh my God, there's like amazing poison in those claws. Like death poison. Like as soon as it touches the thing, it just falls over and dies. I used to think these were these amazing animals that could just, kill with just a touch kind of thing. Later on in life, I come to realize that there's a third option. You can either fight your way out of a situation, you can run out of a situation, or you can freeze. So now we have the flight, fight, or freeze. That animal knows in that moment, I'm not going to win a fight. I'm not going to get away. This thing is on me. I'm out of here. I'm dissociating. And you literally shut down. Freeze. Why? Because the animal doesn't want to be feeling somebody chewing on its leg. It will dissociate. It will literally dissociate so that it does not have to feel the pain of being ripped apart and eaten by this animal. This is a natural mechanism in the animal kingdom, of which, by the way, we belong to. We have these same mechanisms of flight, fight, or freeze. Interestingly enough, there's another instinct within animals that says, this deer is not moving, it's dead. So I will take it and drag it off to the side. I will go get the cubs. This doesn't always happen. I mean, if a hungry cat's going to eat right then and there, so that's it. But sometimes there's this instinctive kind of sense of it's not moving, so it must be dead. So they drag this cheetah drags this deer away into a safe place where it's hidden, and it's going to go off and it's going to go get its cubs so that they can eat too. It's dinner for the night. The deer's not dead. The deer just shut down, froze. Didn't even have a scratch. Just felt the paws in the back and said, oop, I'm done. I lost. Some time goes by and the deer's lying there and there's not this instinctive sense of danger in the environment. It starts to warm up. It doesn't feel anything gnawing on its leg or tearing it apart. So the deer starts to wake up. And when the deer wakes up, it jumps up and starts crashing into trees and it's running and its heart is racing. It's picked up right where it left off. Because that was the last moment, that was the last instant of its consciousness before it shut down. Danger was right on your back. And when it regains consciousness, it flips out, starts running, crashing into trees, regaining the balance and running, getting the hell away, doesn't even know if the cheetah's there or not, doesn't matter, I gotta go. I gotta get away. Deer runs away, gets away. First thing it does, looks for its herd, looks for its family. And here's where it gets fascinating. When it finds its family, when it finds the herd, it runs in and goes immediately to the center. And the other animals surround it, give it a layer of protection. You're home, you're safe, you're okay. And what does it do? It collapses, starts to shake, tremble, all kind of convulsions, all of the fear that was circulating through the body, all of the reaction, kicks its legs and its arms, and it's in fight mode, but there's nothing there. But everything that was triggered was still there, held into place, and it needed to be released. And when it got into this safe, loving environment, it knew that it could release these things. Animals don't hold on to trauma. Humans do. Animals find and they have this ritualistic way, instinctive way of getting rid of this stuff, and they do this all the time. And when it's done doing all its kicking and frothing and everything like that, it stands back up and has a sense of home. You know what it does? It goes out and it goes grazing. It's not little, oh my God, where's the cheetah? No, done. Survived that. I'm back with my family. I'm back with my loved ones. when you find yourself, and I hope you grasp this, you find yourself in a loving environment with a loving partner, you can find yourself starting to tremble because of old traumas that you never got to resolve. That's why a lot of people have a lot of difficulty in relationships sometimes. This is just one aspect of why relationships can be such a difficult thing for people. Because the downside of love is that it gives you an opportunity for a healing environment. And if you're not ready for that, if you're not aware of that, you may find yourself trembling and saying, what the hell is wrong with me? You may find yourself wanting to fight with your partner and thinking, what the hell is wrong with me? You may find yourself wanting to run out of the relationship. And you're thinking, what the hell is wrong with me? The downside of love is that it creates this environment for you to release your old traumas. And we in a society are not taught that this happens in life. It's not instinctively known to us, but it instinctively happens to us. So be careful and mindful that if you have things in your life that you need to work out, find a loving environment in which you consciously go into that environment knowing that some of these things may come out of you. And mind you, I see this. I mean, I see people shaking, trembling, fighting thin air, but they're doing it in a therapeutic environment and not with their boyfriend or girlfriend or their boss or their siblings. We as humans unfortunately hold trauma. We don't have rituals to release it in a functional, therapeutic, healing way where other people are not affected by it. Because you know what happens? If somebody ran in and disturbed that deer, it would freeze again. If someone ran in and started kicking the deer, like, oh shit, the cheetah's back, I better freeze and shut down again. And that's what we do. We freeze and we shut down again. And then we try to start falling and coming out of it again, and then we freeze. Somebody else comes along and they upset us. We pick the right people to do the wrong things. And we never have a full chance. So we end up compounding situations. You get into a fight with someone and the next day, oh my God, what did I do? I'm so sorry. Now you have another trauma on top of the old trauma that never got resolved. Now you think it's the partner's fault or your fault. Now you two got to work this thing out, and this other thing gets buried even further back. We grew up, unfortunately, in a time period where we were not given proper lessons on relationships. So we are trying to work out old stuff. And when we start to fall in a loving environment, we get confused about love. That's why I call this the downside of love. I meet people, I talk to friends, and I don't understand. Everything was great, everything was fine, and now suddenly he's starting to act funny. And I say, do you really love him? I mean, do you really love him? Yeah, I really love him. Well, that's what the problem is. He or she can't handle that. Stuff is coming up for them. They suddenly find themselves with the shakes, can't sleep at night, wanting to run, looking for reasons to get out of this. Bit of food for thought. Last thought, life circumstances. If there's something in your life that does not work for you, stop doing it. Saying no to what does not work for you is not a negative affirmation. Even though you hear no, stop, don't. If you don't know what you are going to do, you at least know what you don't want to do. For a long time, I couldn't find the strength to stop working in jobs that I didn't want to work in because I didn't know what I was going to do. Finally, I realized, look, I really know what I don't want to do. I really know what I don't want. So I focused on that. I didn't know what I was going to do, but sometimes you have to constantly say no with confidence. There's a way of focusing on what you don't want that is negative. And you've heard, don't focus on what you don't want because you'll just attract more of it to you. If you focus on what you don't want with fear, yes, you will get the negative. If you focus on what you don't want with confidence, with a decisive sense of, look, I do not want that, period. That is a positive energy. Because if you don't know what kind of relationship you want, then you can start with the kind of relationship you don't want. If you don't know what kind of work you'd like to do, you can start with the work that you don't like to do. Saying no to what does not work is a positive affirmation. Thank you everyone for listening.